Traveling through parallel worlds, Chen, who had no money to eat, had no choice but to choose to become a host. Unexpectedly, during the live broadcast, Chen awakened the system. As his popularity increases, he can obtain divine-level skills in the system. Winning, divine driving technology. From then on, he became the famous mountain chariot god of autumn.Draw, divine-level slaying technique. Killing pigs is like chopping melons and vegetables. Winning, the divine sea driving technique. The Little Prince of Fish deals cards online. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 1. Mobile live streaming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the early morning of Jiaxing, Chen was awakened by the alarm clock and got up from the bed of the rudimentary rented house. He looked around and felt a slight sense of confusion in his heart. He walked to the pool and washed his face with cold water, feeling refreshed. Naked on his upper body, his well-defined 8-pack abs were reflected in the mirror, and his knife-cut face was adorned with a few drops of water droplets, exuding a touch of the charm of Peng Yuyan from Jiaxing. Indeed, Chen is no longer the self of his past life, but has traveled to this world. But unlike those interlopers in the novel, others often experience endless scenery and make a comeback, while he has nothing but a good skin, and his life becomes increasingly difficult. Chen looked at his handsome face in the mirror, then glanced at the few remaining balance in his wallet, and couldn't help but sigh, feeling a sense of helplessness in his heart. Nevertheless, Chen is not completely dependent. Like many travelers, he also has a golden finger. When he first arrived, he also had expectations and joy for this golden finger, but soon this expectation was mercilessly shattered by reality. His golden finger is the ability to randomly draw and master a skill every day, which may sound good, but in reality, the skills Chen draws are all useless to him. For example, on the first day, he received postpartum care for sows, which made Chen couldn't help but laugh at himself in his heart. Is it not possible for me to become a veterinarian? The problem was, in the bustling Jiaxing, where could a sow be asked to take care of? There are many other skills that are of no help to Chen, such as welding skills, fruit and vegetable planting, etc. Over time, Chen gradually lost patience with this so-called golden finger. At this moment, it was July in the prime of summer. Chen put on a white short-sleeved T-shirt and went out with his phone. The cicadas chirped one after another, the scorching sun scorched the earth, and the temperature was constantly rising. There are few pedestrians on the streets. Chen skillfully opened his mobile live stream. Life is not easy, he makes a living through art. Watching the increasing number of people in the live broadcast room, Chen felt mixed emotions in his heart. He was originally a minor star in the 18th tier, with no representative works and a low profile. Due to his low popularity, the company almost abandoned him and terminated his contract after it expired. Of course, Chen felt unwilling. He once fantasized about using his golden finger to make a comeback and return to the entertainment industry. But the reality is that the skills bestowed upon him by the system have almost no impact on his entertainment career. In order to make a living, Chen had to rely on her beauty advantage and choose to live stream for entertainment. Fortunately, with his outstanding appearance, he has managed to thrive in the live streaming industry. Chen opened the system panel and prepared to extract today's skills. Due to the random acquisition of skills, he will try to select some skills that match his current part-time job and try them out, but he will also frequently change jobs that he really doesn't want to engage in. In recent days, Chen's identity has been that of a Didi driver. Although he often changes professions, this actually makes his live streaming content rich and diverse, attracting a group of loyal fans. Chen didn't have much hope for the skills he might draw today. He knows that the system has a high degree of randomness, making it difficult to extract any practical skills. However, with a lottery mentality, he insists on drawing every day. However, the skill drawn this time surprised Su Chen greatly. 4 big characters appeared prominently on the system panel. Peak driving skills. Immediately after, a yellow light that others could not perceive rushed into Su Chen's mind. Although this skill is not directly related to returning to the entertainment industry, it is indeed the most practical one that Su Chen has ever drawn. Moreover, this skill perfectly fits his work needs today, which makes him overjoyed. The barrage saw Su Chen standing on the street in a daze and asked him what he was thinking. A few seconds later, Su Chen came to his senses and responded that he had just been thinking about something. He took a step forward and walked towards a Didi car parked on the roadside. "What else is the anchor doing today?" asked the barrage curiously. Su Chen smiled slightly and replied, "My identity today is as a Didi driver." With this peak driving skill, he is full of confidence in himself. However, the audience in the barrage began to question. Can the anchor drive? It seems like I haven't seen the anchor drive before. The anchor doesn't even have a car, right? Where is the anchor in Jiaxing? I'll also try to get in the anchor's car. The anchor hasn't driven a car much before. It's too dangerous to suddenly drive Didi now. Faced with these doubts, Su Chen smiled calmly and said half-jokingly, "You don't believe me so much. Let me tell you, my driving skills are very high." If it had been before, he naturally wouldn't have been so confident, but now that he has the pinnacle of driving skills, he is no longer low-key. The moment he got into the Didi car and grabbed the steering wheel, he felt an unprecedented sense of confidence. "Do the anchor remember how to start the car?" Someone joked in the barrage. Su Chen didn't say anything, just fixed the phone on the bracket, easily started the vehicle, and responded to the questioning with practical actions. "How could you not even know how to start it?" Su Chen smiled and said, "Do you just don't believe me?" As soon as the words fell, Su Chen drove his vehicle towards the city center. He lives in a remote and affordable place, with few people on the road. After passing a few traffic lights, the number of vehicles gradually increased and entered the morning rush hour. At this time, the urban roads were overcrowded, which was undoubtedly a test for Su Chen. The audience on the barrage reminded him to drive carefully to avoid accidents. Su Chen only smiled lightly at this and did not respond. He took a deep breath and was about to showcase his driving skills when his phone received an order notification and the passenger was nearby. So Su Chen parked the car on the roadside waiting for passengers. "I originally wanted to show off my driving skills to my fans, but unfortunately, the timing was not right and I had to wait for future opportunities." Taking advantage of the waiting time, Su Chen chatted with the fans in the live broadcast room. There were not many people in the live broadcast room, only a few hundred, but he still enjoyed it. Su Chen is in a predicament. At present, he only has 100 yuan left in his pocket, and his daily live streaming income barely maintains his basic needs. Frequent job changes have resulted in his meager earnings, making it almost impossible for him to save any money. Jiaxing is vast and bustling, and for Su Chen, even purchasing a piece of clothing requires careful consideration. At the critical moment of paying rent again, Su Chen looked at the calendar displayed on the car screen and couldn't help but sigh deeply. This kind of life is extremely oppressive. To change the status quo, the only way is to find a way out in the entertainment industry. At this moment, the audience on the barrage were laughing and joking, blaming Su Chen for not working diligently and not being able to do each job for a long time. Su Chen felt helpless inside. Can he blame himself for this? If you want to blame, blame that weird system. Soon, the taxi passengers have arrived. A woman wearing denim shorts and a light pink camisole walked towards Su Chen's car and checked the license plate number. "Oh, she's a beautiful woman." The audience in the live broadcast room immediately started teasing Su Chen when they saw that the passenger was a girl. "Look at those long legs. TSK, the anchor needs to seize the opportunity. I remember the anchor doesn't have a girlfriend yet. I think this girl is quite compatible with the anchor." That's right, it's a combination of talented and beautiful people. 2. Directly enter the police and bandit chase mode. You are listening at novel full.audio. Faced with the information on the barrage, Chen's mouth twitched slightly, but he could only pretend to be calm, as if he had not seen it, and his gaze cast towards the distance. The beautiful woman opened the car door and sat in the passenger seat. Tale number 8773. The woman fastened her seatbelt and placed her bag on her lap, saying softly. Chen responded and confirmed the order for her. This girl's voice is so sweet. A barrage comment said, Millennium Repair is the same as the car shop. The anchor should launch an attack quickly. Upon seeing this, Chen cleared his throat and secretly glanced at the girl in the passenger seat. While confirming the order with the girl, he quietly typed out a line in the live broadcast. Don't be fooling around, I need to focus on driving. Then, he restarted the vehicle. Due to the phone screen facing her, the beautiful woman was unaware that Chen was live streaming. She sat down in the passenger seat, breathed a sigh of relief, and carefully examined the interior environment of the car. The car slowly started to move. The beautiful woman secretly felt fortunate in her heart, feeling that her luck was not bad. The DD driver she hit was actually a handsome guy, and she was able to keep her eyes healthy all the way. Chen looks quite gentle, and I estimate he will also drive very steadily, the beautiful woman thought to herself. She thought while quietly observing Chen through the rearview mirror. Indeed, Chen's appearance is quite impressive, with a scholarly appearance. After all, people who can be signed by entertainment companies will not look too bad. Silent all the way. Chen originally planned to show off his driving skills, but after experiencing the teasing of bullet comments, he felt a bit uneasy. In addition, during the morning rush hour, there was a lot of traffic, so Chen deliberately maintained a slower speed. When Chen stopped and waited for the red light, he picked up his phone to check the comments on the barrage. At that moment, Chen heard the sound of police sirens coming from afar. Diwu diwu, immediately afterwards, a black sedan sped past Chen's car at an astonishing speed. At least 60 miles per hour. Please note that this is the city center and it is also during the morning rush hour. Despite being located on the outskirts of the city and nearing the end of the morning rush hour, driving at 60 miles in such a place is undoubtedly a joke about life. It can only be said that the black car driver is too confident in himself, which is why he is so arrogant. The driver next to him rolled down the car window and cursed loudly, "You're not going to die." The black car just now almost passed by against both of their cars. A little off-center, I'm afraid 3 cars will collide into a ball. The driver had just finished cursing when a police car with flashing lights and honking sirens followed closely behind, but its speed was noticeably much slower than that black car. Is this arresting people? The beautiful woman in the passenger seat said in a daze. Chen nodded subconsciously. At this point, barrage discussions also began to heat up. Wow, the anchor encountered a pursuit operation on the first day. It was really close just now, that black car almost hit the anchor's car. Isn't it said that the anchor's driving skills are great? It's time to showcase his skills, go and chase the robbers. Isn't this a real version of a police and bandit chase blockbuster? Huh, I like it. The anchor, hurry up and let's take a look. Chen did not respond to the barrage, but waited until the traffic light turned green and suddenly accelerated to rush out. The beautiful woman next to her turned pale due to a sudden and intense acceleration. I'm Chow. The anchor has really started. This is too fierce, directly entered police and bandit chase mode. Chen ignored the live broadcast room and focused on controlling the vehicle. He stepped on the gas pedal hard, frantically overtaking, making sharp turns, and driving through the wide road. The audience in the live broadcast room was completely shocked by Chen's actions. They thought Chen was just talking, but they didn't expect him to really go all out for the sake of the show's effectiveness. The beautiful woman was already frightened and screamed incessantly. Fortunately, she fastened her seat belt in advance, otherwise she would have been thrown out of the car at such a high speed. Even so, she still felt a pain in her chest being strangled by the seat belt. The anchor really has the courage to drive so fast, it scared the baby to death. His speed is definitely faster than that black car. Everyone, get ready to eat melons. The anchor risked his life to bring excitement to everyone. Do you think the anchor can catch up with that black car? I think it's possible. The anchor's speed does look faster than that black car. I think it's enough. Now I just hope the anchor is safe and sound. Well, if the anchor can really catch up with that black car, I'll give the anchor a rocket. It's amazing, it's simply explosive. In an instant, Chen had already approached the police car ahead. The police officer driving the police car looked at the Didi car overtaking on the left and was so surprised that his mouth couldn't even close. Chen can now see the tail lights of the black car. What's wrong with that Didi car? The driving police officer asked his colleague beside him. Damn it, driving so fast, I thought I was dizzy. I can't figure it out either. I'm so confused watching it, it's like a real-life version of Speed and Passion. I estimate that the criminal is running towards the highway. Please contact the toll station ahead to intercept him. Once we get on the highway, it will be difficult for us to catch up, a police officer analyzed. As for the Didi car just now, there must be a problem driving so fast. Take note of the license plate number and stop later to ask. The other police officers looked at each other with a surprised expression on their faces. The number of people in the live broadcast room has skyrocketed. These viewers were deeply impressed by Chen's driving skills and crazily brushed up gifts in the live broadcast room. Meanwhile, Jiaxing Media, on the 7th floor. Reba leans in front of the spacious French window, looks out at the skyscraper, and stretches her waist lazily. She was wearing a red short skirt, with a pair of snow-white long legs exposed, exuding a charming charm. Reba returned to her office chair, bored, and turned on her computer to browse the live broadcast. I don't think I'll be caught taking a break for a while, Reba thought to herself, holding her cheeks in both hands. Touch the fish for a while, it should be okay. What game is the anchor playing? Why is it so real? Reba asked anonymously in Chen's live broadcast room. The anchor is experiencing the Earth Life Simulator. Oh, why haven't I heard of this game? Reba asked with a curious expression on her face. On weekdays, her work is a bit dull, and in her spare time, she likes to immerse herself in games. Occasionally, she also secretly relaxes during work breaks. Therefore, for fresh games, Reba always has a great curiosity. Don't mislead people upstairs, the anchor is clearly driving. Driving. Reba responded with a puzzled expression on her face. To be precise, the anchor is engaged in a life and death speed frenzy. Numerous fans explained to Reba one after another. At this moment, Chen's live broadcast effect is as dazzling as fireworks. At this moment, Chen had not yet noticed the heated discussions in the live broadcast room and was fully focused on driving his vehicle. The distance from that black car is getting closer and closer. 3. Skilled individuals have courage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The woman next to her was almost hoarse, feeling like she was about to collide with other vehicles several times, but every time she was cleverly avoided by Chen. This is a competition between stimulation and heartbeat. She only felt the vehicles outside the window rewinding rapidly. Chen has driven his car out of the city, and the roads here are no longer crowded. His speed with the black car has also increased significantly. The entrance to the highway is ahead. Chen knew the purpose of the black car well, so he decided to force it to stop in front of the highway entrance. Did those police officers behind get rid of them? A masked thug asked the driver inside the black car. The police got rid of it, but a white Didi followed closely behind them. Didi car. The black car driver glanced at the rearview mirror. Is it a pre-ambushed plainclothes police officer? Accelerate, we must also get rid of him. The criminal driving a black car received instructions and immediately pushed the speed to the limit. Chen didn't hesitate to accelerate the speed when he saw the situation. Feeling a strong sense of pushing back, Chen gradually narrowed the distance from the escaped black car with his superb driving skills. He switched the high beam to signal surrender. The criminal leader on the black car was shocked to see Chen catching up. "Damn it," the criminal leader roared, "this police officer is too tough." At this point, the number of viewers in the live broadcast room has exceeded the 15 million mark. And the police car also followed closely behind, approaching step by step. "Isn't this Didi here to help us?" The police officer in charge of driving in the police car guessed. "I think it's possible, probably to lend a helping hand when faced with injustice, but it's a bit too brave. It's just a real-life version of Speed and Passion." Another police officer adjusted his hat and said, "How's the situation with notifying the highway department?" A female police officer nodded and responded, "The highway department has received and confirmed the information. Okay, first issue a warning to inform the criminals that the highway entrance ahead has been blocked and intercepted, and let them quickly seize it." Within Jiaxing Media Company, Mr. Yang stood outside Reba's office and gently knocked on the door a few times. At this moment, Reba was watching Chen's live broadcast intently, without noticing the knocking at the door. Mr. Yang waited outside the door for a while, but when he saw that Reba didn't respond, he thought to himself, could it be that she's lazy and asleep again? Reba has been caught fishing at work several times by her, and according to common sense, she is probably dozing off again this time. Thinking of this, Mr. Yang opened the door to Reba's office on his own. I saw Reba's gaze still lingering on the screen. Mr. Yang saw Reba's focused expression and couldn't help but wonder, "What are you looking at, so engrossed?" As she spoke, she walked up to Reba's side. Reba didn't notice Boss Yang behind her at all. "What are you looking at?" Mr. Yang walked up behind Reba and raised his voice. Reba was startled and quickly turned off the computer screen. "Ah." Reba turned her head and explained to Mr. Yang with a serious expression, I'm watching a real-life version of Speed and Passion. The real-life version of Speed and Passion. Mr. Yang frowned slightly, puzzled, what is that content? Reba cleared her throat and recounted the story. That's probably it. At first, I didn't plan on going to work to fish, it's just that this live broadcast was too attractive. Reba lowered her head, defending herself like a child who had done something wrong. Did the villain catch you? Yang Mi asked. Reba shook her head and said, I'm not sure yet. Just as I saw a Didi car chasing after me, you came in. After listening, Boss Yang nodded. She had just listened to Reba's account and felt that this matter was quite peculiar. Didi's driver unexpectedly saw injustice on the road and staged a city chase battle. Do you want to watch the results together? Reba raised her head and suggested. Mr. Yang hesitated for a moment before calmly agreeing, all right, let's see the end. You can turn on the computer. Criminals are becoming increasingly anxious. This place is already very close to the entrance of the highway. If they forcefully enter the highway, there may still be a glimmer of hope, but the tightly biting Didi car behind them reduces their chances of escape to almost zero. It can almost be said that it is absolutely impossible. Damn it! The criminal leader glared at the relentless pursuit of Didi from behind and roared in anger, You're going to play with me, damn it, turn around and kill him. The driving criminal knew very well that if he didn't get rid of Chen, he would hardly be able to escape, so he decisively made a tail flick and turned around to charge towards the white Didi car. And Chen took advantage of this opportunity to successfully get close to that black sedan. Facing the black sedan rushing towards her, Chen not only showed no fear, but also raised the corners of her mouth, revealing a smile. The distance between the two cars was extremely close and the speed was fast. In the eyes of the live broadcast audience, it seemed difficult for Chen to avoid this collision. If nothing unexpected happens, the two cars are about to collide. The beautiful woman in the passenger seat screamed in fear as she looked at the oncoming black car. She closed her eyes and curled up in the seat. Even Yang Mi and Reba were sweating for Chen. It's over, it's over. There must be something big going on at this speed. Reba seemed to be in the live broadcast, her face pale with fear, nervously biting her lips. The image of the white Didi car being smashed into pieces had already appeared in her mind. The police car that had been following all along also noticed this critical situation. Oh no, there might be casualties. When the whole world was worried about Chen, he smiled slightly. The next moment, he decisively turned the steering wheel and brushed past the black car. Is this evading? Mr. Yang whispered in disbelief. Upon hearing Mr. Yang's words, Reba opened her eyes and looked at the screen. What a talented person with great courage! Reba exclaimed sincerely. At this moment, the live broadcast room has completely exploded. Car God reappears, absolute car God. Oh my goodness, how did he dodge just now? I didn't see it clearly. This is the real-life version of Speed and Passion. Are you sure it's not a special effects shot from the movie? That black car failed to hit Chen, but instead almost hit the guardrail. The number of viewers in the live broadcast room has already exceeded 10,000, and it is now boiling with enthusiasm. Reba and Yang Mi breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Chen successfully avoid the impact of the criminal's vehicle. Oh my God, I scared the baby to death, Reba said, patting her chest. Yang Mi also smiled slightly, although she appeared more calm, her heart was equally nervous and uneasy. The police have issued another warning, demanding that the suspected vehicle immediately stop for inspection, including the Didi Express driven by Chen. Hearing the command coming from the police car horn, Chen couldn't help but mutter in his heart. What's the situation? I'm clearly acting bravely, why bother investigating me? Can they think I'm a criminal accomplice? The criminal leader, upon hearing the police warning, glared angrily at Chen's Didi car and cursed, this guy is not even a cop. Mind your own business and seek death. Chase after me and kill him. Chen has successfully surpassed the black sedan driven by the criminal with his flexible evasion. At this moment, the criminal is already jumping over the wall, pressing the accelerator hard to catch up. And Chen once again evaded with precise operation. Damn it, almost every time. The criminal leader angrily slapped the seat and roared, keep hitting him, kill him. If you want to forcefully charge the card, you must first remove the Chen pendulum. However, Chen held on tightly, forcing the criminal to confront him head-on. 4. Who's here? Come out and get praised. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The Didi Express driven by Chen clearly cannot compare with the sturdy black sedan of the criminal. Fortunately, he has excellent driving skills and can cleverly dodge at the last moment before being hit. The scene was truly heart-wrenching, but Chen smiled and said to himself, it's really exciting. By comparison, the criminal's side is already extremely anxious. In the process of chasing and fiercely colliding, the two of them got closer and closer to the high-speed entrance. The possibility of getting rid of Chen has become increasingly slim. It even became extremely difficult to collide with Chen again. The criminal leader's face turned pale with anger. He clenched his fists and smashed fiercely at the car window. Keep hitting me. No way, boss, the driver frowned and replied, the other party's driving skills are too high, and the police are also following closely behind. There are only a few kilometers left ahead, which is the entrance to the highway. I'm afraid we'll be stuck here. The driver is the most outstanding member of the gang in terms of driving skills. As a driver, He deeply realized that Su Chen's driving skills far exceeded his own. Deep down in his heart, he had already developed a sense of fear towards Su Chen. The best way now is to forcefully pass the level. The driver exchanged a glance with the criminal leader and said firmly. However, after a collision, Su Chen's car had surpassed the criminal's black sedan. The criminal wanted to overtake, but Su Chen stood in front. If the criminal wants to collide, Su Chen can easily avoid it. Finally, near the entrance of the highway, Su Chen successfully intercepted the criminal vehicle. Although a checkpoint has been set up at the entrance of the highway, it is easy to rush through due to its simple setup. It is obvious that the Highway Management Department did not realize the seriousness of the problem, and even with police notification, it was only handled as a small-scale conflict. If it weren't for Su Chen's obstruction, that black car would definitely be able to easily get rid of the police and drive onto the highway. In that way, the criminals are like rocks sinking into the sea, and they can no longer be searched for. Su Chen's move can be considered as making great contributions. At this moment, the barrage instantly exploded in the live broadcast room. The anchor is so handsome, he really stopped the car. Previously, some people questioned the anchor's driving skills. Whoever came out to be praised. Oh my goodness, this is too exciting. I really want to take a ride in the host's car. Faced with the barrage of scrolling comments in the live broadcast room, Su Chen smiled calmly. The number of people in the live broadcast room has already exceeded 10,000, and the audience is frantically scrolling through bullet comments. The beautiful passenger with a pale face got off the train earlier. Without saying a word, he started vomiting while holding onto the side of the car. She originally thought that Su Chen had a gentle appearance and would drive smoothly. But now, she only feels regretful. The barrage players were amused by this scene. Forget it, I suddenly don't want to take the anchor's car anymore. The fan just spoke again. Who used to say that if the anchor caught up with a criminal, they would send rockets, but now the anchor caught up, what about rockets? You're not joking, are you? I think it's just a joke. However, not long after, the rocket appeared on the screen. Our anchor's fans don't know how to say hi. The fan who sent out the rocket responded arrogantly. Su Chen looked at the rocket, checked the live broadcast revenue, and nodded in satisfaction. This month's rent can be considered settled. At this moment, the police arrived in time and arrested the criminals inside the black car one by one. Su Chen walked to the side of the car, handed the girl who was still vomiting a bottle of water, and thoughtfully handed a tissue. Are you okay? Su Chen asked softly. The woman waved her hand, took the water bottle, and continued to bend down to vomit. After the police took all the criminals away, a police officer walked up to Su Chen's side. Su Chen smiled and waved his hand, saying, "Don't thank me, I was just doing a favor." The police officer shook his head and said seriously, "We're not here to thank you, but to ask you to come with us to the police station." Ha! Su Chen's face was full of surprise. Why? Aren't I acting bravely in righteousness? He couldn't believe his ears. Do you have to follow the police station to do good deeds and do good deeds? The police officer said helplessly, "Of course you did a great thing, but your driving skills are like a professional level criminal escape. If you really do something bad, no one will be able to catch up with you. You must go with us to file a record," the police explained. "Don't worry, it won't affect your civil service and civil service exams." After listening, Su Chen could only smile bitterly. At this moment, the barrage has been completely amused by this scene. Su Chen is probably the first anchor to be taken away for doing good deeds. Su Chen followed the police to the police station. Unlike the criminal, he drove his own DD car and followed the police car steadily. And those criminals were taken away in a state of being handcuffed. Su Chen safely transported the female passenger to the city and confiscated any fees. Fortunately, the female passenger understood that Su Chen was being chivalrous and righteous. Although she was indeed scared a bit earlier, she did not blame Su Chen. Su Chen apologized and even compensated her with breakfast money. After all, they vomited up all their previous breakfast. As she bid farewell, the female passenger told Su Chen that riding in his car was much more thrilling than the roller coaster and pendulum in the amusement park. This time, I really wandered around the edge of life and death. Fortunately, Su Chen's driving skills were superb and he had exceptional courage and insight. Not long after, Su Chen arrived at the police station. After completing the registration procedures, Su Chen felt helpless and repeatedly emphasized that he only had good driving skills and had not done anything wrong. The police, however, did not take it seriously and specifically checked Su Chen's past records. The result is naturally that nothing was discovered. Helpless, Su Chen drove a police car in the courtyard of the police station and demonstrated his driving skills several times. Several beautiful tail flicks and drifting movements were shown to the two young police officers responsible for registration. Directly staring at the two police officers in amazement. After completing the procedures, the police had to let Su Chen leave. Before Su Chen left, the police did not forget to praise him, saying that he had made significant contributions in stopping the criminals. Su Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. What's the use of such verbal praise? It's better to give some practical rewards. It's not Su Chen's reality, it's because he really lacks money. Now everything has come to light, Su Chen is indeed not a troublemaker. After Su Chen walked out of the police station, he resumed the live broadcast. Due to the thrilling scene just now, he successfully attracted the attention of Reba and Yangmi, who are currently staring at Su Chen's live broadcast room. At this moment, as soon as Su Chen started broadcasting, thousands of viewers flooded into the live broadcast room. Su Chen was startled by this battle. You should know that the number of viewers in your daily live streaming is only around 3 digits. Obviously, many fans started paying attention to him through the live segment of the chase with the fugitive just now. TechniqueThe, were you a Didi driver before? With such superb driving skills, you must be an experienced driver who has been driving for many years. Car skills. It's probably not the same car skills mentioned upstairs, joking JPG. Su Chen smiled slightly and responded with a sense of helplessness. Alas, actually my main profession is an actor, which is often referred to as an artist. It's just that because I don't have any popular works or insufficient traffic, I have been kept by the company for a long time. Life is really forcing me, and I'm about to run out of steam. That's why I'm trying to start a live streaming side job and experience a new industry every day. If you like the anchor, remember to follow me. Thank you very much for your support. After Su Chen finished speaking, the audience was once again in an uproar. So Su Chen is a celebrity. Some new fans expressed surprise. And old fans all joked about Su Chen, saying that he, as a popular celebrity, would definitely be considered the only one in Jiaxing to work part-time at Didi. In fact, many artists who have been hidden by companies have been involved in various part-time jobs, but most people are unaware of it. Faced with barrage comments on the screen, Su Chen didn't say much. 5. Jiaxing Media. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Glancing at the live streaming revenue, it was even higher than his monthly salary. This gave Su Chen a warm feeling in her heart, at least she didn't have to worry about the rent for the next time. Jiaxing Media, in Reba's studio. Boss Yang has not yet left and is still present. Honey, he's actually an artist. Do you think we should consider bringing him to work with Jiaxing? Rebe suggested. And I think he has a good image, he does have a celebrity temperament. Mr. Yang didn't immediately make a statement, but focused on watching Su Chen for a few seconds before nodding gently. If there's a chance, I can definitely meet up, Mr. Yang replied. I'll leave this matter to you to contact. After listening, Reba said happily, okay, honey, then. When it comes to that, I can't be considered a slacker at work now, after all, I'm exploring talent for the company, hee hee. This time, Yang Mi did not refute Reba's statement. On the one hand, Su Chen is indeed a talent. On the other hand, she also watched Su Chen's live broadcast with Reba herself. If she criticizes Reba for slacking off, isn't she talking about herself? It's all Su Chen's fault for making the live broadcast so interesting. This little guy that people love and hate. Just now, when Yang Mi saw that the black car almost collided with Su Chen, she was also frightened. On the other side, Su Chen sat back in his car. He was about to continue taking orders for sports cars when Douyin received a private message in the background. Pay attention to each other and discuss some cooperation matters, the other party wrote. Due to the lack of mutual understanding, both parties can only send one message, so Reba hopes that Su Chen will first communicate with each other. Su Chen was slightly surprised. Is this the guild knocking on you? Is there any business cooperation? After a small anchor becomes popular, there will be guilds or business partners coming to contact them. With a hint of doubt, Su Chen chose to engage in mutual learning. Reba noticed that Su Chen was paying attention to her and secretly felt delighted. At this point, Boss Yang has already left. Are we going to engage in business cooperation? Su Chen asked. Reba quickly replied that it was not. Is that a guild invitation? Su Chen continued to speculate. None of them, replied Reba. I am Reba, full name Doraba Domarati, an artist under Jiaxing Media. It's like this, I have a crush on you. Ah bah, it's our boss. Miss Me has a crush on you and wants to ask if you're interested in joining us Jiaxing. Reba explained. Ah. Su Chen was very surprised. Reba. Yang Mi. Is it really fake? He subconsciously believed that Reba might be a scammer, so he chose to temporarily ignore it and focused on continuing the live broadcast. However, Reba did not give up and immediately sent Su Chen a location, along with a selfie and a photo of the studio. Hey! Is it really possible? Su Chen looked at the positioning sent by Reba and muttered softly. Has the opportunity for personal transformation finally arrived? Jiaxing is a big company and was personally invited by Reba. Isn't the road to the entertainment industry a smooth one in the future? It's like rising to the top. Of course I'm interested. Su Chen replied. Soon, Su Chen added Reba's WeChat account. Reba told Su Chen to report to Jiaxing tomorrow and go directly to the 7th floor of the company to find her. Su Chen confirmed Reba's identity and ended the conversation with satisfaction before continuing the live broadcast. The next day, clear the dust. Su Chen woke up early and drove to Jiaxing Media. Shortly thereafter, Su Chen arrived in front of the Jiaxing building. As Su Chen has not yet officially become an employee of Jiaxing, he can only park his car on the roadside and cannot enter the parking lot. Along the way, Su Chen started the live broadcast as usual. After stopping the car, he turned and walked towards Jiaxing's building. Before taking a few steps, I saw a large group of people rushing out of the building. Su Chen was full of doubts and glanced at the time. It was only 8:30 in the morning. Isn't this just starting work? Su Chen puzzled, why are these people running outside? Is the company organizing activities? The audience in the live broadcast room also expressed confusion. At the end of last night's live broadcast, Su Chen told them that they were going to work at Jiaxing today, and it was personally invited by Reba. At that time, some fans in the live broadcast room questioned the authenticity, while others joked that Su Chen was bragging. This morning, Su Chen came here with a live broadcast, once again using practical actions to confront those skeptics. Some fans in the live broadcast room still speak hard, claiming that Su Chen dare not enter, which is pure nonsense. Su Chen smiled calmly, declined to comment, and walked straight forward. At this moment, he saw clearly the reason why the crowd was running. I saw a staff member dressed in formal attire, carrying a girl in a long dress, rushing towards this side with a fast pace. Behind the two, there was a large group of people following closely. "Give way! Give way!" the staff member shouted loudly. Chen quickly dodged aside. "What's going on?" Chen asked a Jiaxing employee beside him. The employee had just run out of the building and gasped for breath, saying, "An employee has a sudden heart attack, and it's the girl on the back of that guy. We're waiting for an ambulance to come now." At this moment, a black Land Rover parked steadily on the roadside. Mr. Yang, wearing black high heels, walked over quickly. "What's wrong with this?" Mr. Yang asked. "What are you all doing outside?" The staff member carrying the girl behind their back briefly recounted the incident. After hesitating for a few seconds, Chen squeezed into the crowd and volunteered, "Why don't I take her to the hospital?" Yang Mi recognized Chen at a glance, and a hint of joy flashed in her eyes. "Chen, it's you," Yang Mi said with a light smile. "Since you're here, I feel much more at ease. Hurry up, it's important to save the person. Please drive this employee to the emergency room as soon as possible." As she spoke, Yang Mi handed Chen the Land Rover key in her hand. "Boss, is he okay?" The staff member, who was carrying a heart attack patient behind his back, expressed doubts. "The ambulance will only arrive in about 30 minutes, so why don't we wait for the ambulance instead?" 30 minutes, even the yellow cauliflower is cold. Mr. Yang decided decisively, "You can rest assured to hand it over to Chen. He must be faster than an ambulance." "Is this really okay?" The staff looked worried. This is a long distance from the hospital, with many traffic lights. It happens to be during the morning rush hour, and the road is congested with vehicles. It is difficult to say whether even an ambulance can arrive within 30 minutes. Not to mention handing over life affairs to unfamiliar Chen. But looking at Mr. Yang's firm gaze, the situation was urgent at the moment, and although he hesitated, he had no time to think much. "Listen to me, hand over the person to Chen. If there is any problem, I will take full responsibility. The most important thing now is to save the person." Yang Mi emphasized with a resolute tone, stomping her foot. "Okay. Okay, boss." Despite still having doubts, the staff, under Yang Mi's insistence, carefully handed the girl on her back to Chen. Chen picked up the girl with one hand. A heavy weight. Chen naturally noticed the distrust and questioning of the staff. But now, racing against time, saving people is important. He doesn't need to defend himself, just take action to prove himself. 6. Enter the bureau again. You are listening at novel full.audio. Chen carefully placed the patient on the back seat of Land Rover, signaled to Boss Yang that everything was ready, and then started the engine. "Mr. Yang, is he okay with this?" An employee of Jiaxing asked anxiously. "Don't worry, his driving skills are quite good. It's definitely much faster for him to deliver patients than waiting for an ambulance," said Mr. Yang calmly as he watched the speeding vehicles go by. As soon as he finished speaking, Mr. Yang stepped on those black high heels and walked straight into the company building without looking back. "What are you all doing here? Hurry up and get back to work." Mr. Yang put down a sentence, and the employees immediately followed suit and walked into the company. On the 7th floor, inside Reba's studio. She made an agreement with Chen to discuss the contract this morning, but no one came from waiting left or right. So she casually opened a certain audio app and happened to see Chen live streaming. "Isn't this Miss Mi's car?" Reba looked at Chen on the screen and muttered to herself. The Land Rover driven by Chen is familiar to her. What is the situation? Reba quickly dialed Mr. Yang's phone number. Boss Yang explained the situation in detail and reminded her not to be constantly distracted during work hours. After hearing this, Reba quickly defended herself and said, "There's no such thing as slacking off. I'm just waiting for him to come for a while and want to see what happens. In the live broadcast room, Chen was driving at full speed while Land Rover was racing on the road. It must be mentioned that Mr. Yang's Land Rover has excellent performance, allowing Chen to handle it with ease. It is a distance of 15 kilometers from Jiaxing Media to Jiaxing People's Hospital, and under normal circumstances, it takes more than half an hour for an ambulance to arrive. At this moment it is the morning rush hour and the city roads are congested, making it difficult for even ambulances to reach quickly. Every minute is crucial when a patient experiences a sudden heart attack. Without hesitation, Chen increased his speed to 80 miles per hour, shuttling through the traffic and performing a real-life racing scene. The audience in the live broadcast room instantly exploded upon seeing this. Someone specifically calculated the driving time of Chen. Oh my goodness! The anchor only used less than 12 minutes. This is too fast. And it was still in traffic jam in the city. It was really thrilling and exciting. Fortunately there was no accident. Although the anchor's driving skills are indeed good, the speed is too dangerous. I hope everyone does not imitate it. Reba looked at the various exclamations of the audience on the screen, picked up a pen and paper, and began to calculate. 15 kilometers away, less than 12 minutes to arrive. After half a day of calculation, Reba finally came to the conclusion that the average speed exceeded 75 kilometers per hour. How amazing the speed is! Chen ran wildly all the way, naturally catching the attention of the Jiaxing traffic police. The traffic police were unaware that Chen was transporting emergency patients. As expected, Chen had just parked his car at the entrance of the hospital when he was stopped by a police car on the roadside. The traffic police who got off the car were not police officers, but traffic police officers. They witnessed Chen's recent series of violations of traffic regulations. One of the traffic police officers recognized Chen and said, "It's you again. I was wondering, who could drive so fast in the city and have such good driving skills? It turns out it's you. Come with us," the traffic police said to Chen. What? Chen looked bewildered, and before she could explain, the handcuffs were already on her wrist. "I'm really wronged. I'm trying to save someone. If you take me away, what will happen to this car?" Chen pointed to the Land Rover and asked. "What can we do? According to the regulations, this is a criminal tool that needs to be seized together." Chen was full of grievances. At this moment, the barrage had already exploded with joy, and the anchor had once again entered the station. It was like a daily rhythm. After following the traffic police back to the police station, Chen provided a detailed explanation of the entire incident and called Mr. Yang as proof. The police retrieved relevant surveillance footage and confirmed Chen's statement that he was indeed speeding to save the patient. After learning the truth, the police released Chen and warned him not to race in the city unless there were special circumstances. In the next similar situation, he should call the traffic police in a timely manner and not act recklessly to avoid affecting urban security. In order to leave the police station as soon as possible, Chen repeatedly apologized to several police officers, saying that he had caused them trouble. After admitting his mistake and expressing his apology, Chen walked out of the police station gate, sat back in the driver's seat of Land Rover, and resumed the live broadcast. He suddenly remembered that he had previously made an appointment with Reba to discuss contract matters, but due to the delay from earlier, the time was approaching noon. However, he felt that this was not his intention, and Reba should be able to understand his situation. After some contemplation, Chen decided to still greet Reba and apologize for it. However, just as he took out his phone, he received an email from a former brokerage firm. Upon opening it, the content is concise and clear, indicating that we need to terminate the contract with him. Obviously, that company is no longer willing to invest resources in him. Regarding this, Chen could only smile bitterly and shake his head. The barrage on the screen saw this scene and started joking, but there were also many people cheering him on. Didn't the anchor say they were going to Jiaxing? Since the contract has been terminated now, it saves us the possibility of compensation in the future, wrote a barrage. It can be considered a blessing in disguise, at least not being dragged down. I think Mr. Yang has a good impression of the anchor, which means there is still a great chance for the anchor to return to the entertainment industry. Facing the heartwarming comments on the barrage, Chen nodded in agreement. Indeed, since Mr. Yang is loyal to him and willing to sign a cooperation agreement, there is still a high possibility that he will regroup and return to the entertainment industry. So Chen started the vehicle and drove straight towards Jiaxing. Despite the nominal 1-month breakup fee given to him by his former agency, this money is simply insignificant for his years of being buried in snow. Although the morning rush hour has passed and the traffic in the city is still dense, fortunately the driving is still smooth. Soon, he parked his car in Jiaxing's parking lot. Taking the elevator, Chen first arrived at Reba's work area. Last night, it was Reba who took the initiative to contact him and clearly stated that she was entrusted by Boss Yang to be responsible for coordinating work with him. Chen stood outside Reba's office and gently knocked on the door. "Please come in." Reba's voice came from inside the door. After listening, Chen took a few deep breaths and then walked into Reba's studio. At this moment, Reba was wearing a light yellow dress, her hair casually draped over her shoulders, exuding a hint of lazy beauty. "Please sit down," Reba smiled and pointed to the chair next to her. Chen, who was watching the live broadcast the whole time, responded and sat down slightly restrained. Chen talked to Reba for a while, and he gradually relieved his nervousness. The atmosphere between the two became relaxed and familiar. Chen explained to Reba the reason for being late, indicating that he did not intentionally do it. Upon hearing this, Reba chuckled lightly and told Chen that she had already witnessed the entire process during the live broadcast, and it was indeed not his fault. "You're really lucky enough to enter the bureau once a day," Reba joked. Chen scratched his head with a bitter smile, which was not what he wanted. It could only be said that fate played tricks on people. 7. Anchor Transformation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Reba mentioned that she accidentally noticed Chen during her work break yesterday. She cleared her throat and poured a glass of water for Chen, saying, "Your driving posture is really thrilling. You should be more relaxed in the future. Although your driving skills are outstanding, as the old saying goes, if you often walk by the river, how can you not get your shoes wet?" Chen felt Reba's concern and didn't say much, just silently nodded in agreement. Reba's words do make sense. The top-level driving skills bestowed upon him by the system cannot guarantee that Chen will always be safe and sound. Moreover, high-speed driving can easily attract the attention of the police. Chen doesn't want to repeat the same mistakes again. After chatting for a moment, Reba dialed Mr. Yang's phone number. "Hello." Reba answered the phone. "Miss, Chen has arrived. Do you want your secretary to come over?" On the other end of the phone, Mr. Yang pondered for a while and replied, "I'll go there in person. I really appreciate his help this morning." Quickly, Reba hung up the phone and said to Chen, "Boss Yang said he will come in person later." For Mr. Yang, Chen did not feel too nervous at this time because he had met once in the morning. Chen drank water while chatting casually with Reba. He had to admit that Reba was indeed a great beauty with a unique charm of exotic charm. Her figure is excellent, with a slender waist and seductive curves, faintly visible under a loose dress. Just as Chen was chatting with Reba, a knock suddenly came from outside the door. Reba quickly got up and went to open the door to welcome Mr. Yang's arrival. Mr. Yang walked in briskly in a pair of black high heels, exuding an elegant demeanor with every move and gesture. She smiled at Chen and walked straight to him. Reba obediently stood behind Mr. Yang. Facing the two beautiful women in the same frame, Chen immediately stood up to show respect. "This is the key to a Land Rover car," Su Chen said with a smile. Mr. Yang took the key, nodded slightly, and asked Su Chen to sit down. Thank you so much this morning, Mr. Yang said, for helping Jiaxing solve a big problem. Su Chen smiled and said, is that employee okay? Boss Yang shook his head. She's fine, she's already awake and just called for leave, Mr. Yang continued. She said she must thank you in person after discharge. Su Chen quickly waved his hand, indicating that there was no need to be polite. Mr. Yang is wearing a black buttocks-wrapped skirt, paired with a white formal dress, which adds a touch of formality compared to hot bar. She handed a contract to Su Chen and said, take a look at the contents of the contract and see if there are any issues. Su Chen took over the contract, although he didn't understand the complicated terms, he believed in the credibility of Mr. Yang in the industry. After reading for a while, Su Chen smiled and picked up his pen, signing his name on the contract. Seeing Su Chen so cheerful, Boss Yang extended his right hand with a sweet smile on his face and said, welcome to join Jiaxing. Su Chen also stood up and shook hands with Boss Yang in response. Very honored, Su Chen said sincerely. Well, Su Chen asked, I haven't received any work arrangements yet. Can I work as a part-time anchor for a while? Mr. Yang nodded in agreement, of course it's possible. Su Chen, who received a positive response, felt very pleased. After all, his live streaming career has just started and has made some progress. After yesterday's racing incident, the popularity of Su Chen's live broadcast room has significantly increased. After Su Chen signed the contract, he left Jiaxing Media. At this moment, he suddenly remembered that he had not yet extracted his skills today. Su Chen stood by the roadside, summoning the system panel to prepare for today's skill extraction. Quickly, a few large characters appeared on the screen. Ding! Suck in the full-level fishing skill. Su Chen breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. This skill is at least much safer than top-level driving skills. Moreover, live streaming fishing is not enough to send oneself into the bureau anymore. Thinking of this, Su Chen decided to start the live broadcast again. Before entering Reba's studio, Su Chen deliberately closed the live broadcast room. After all, it involves the privacy of others, especially celebrities. On the barrage, everyone inquired about the outcome of Su Chen's signing. Su Chen smiled and told everyone, I have successfully signed the contract, but I haven't received any specific job yet. I will work as a part-time anchor for a period of time. Is the anchor still driving fast today? There is a barrage of questions. Su Chen smiled and answered, that's too dangerous. How about I live stream fishing for everyone today? After seeing it, the audience in the live broadcast room began to joke. The anchor has transformed into a fisherman today, the anchor still knows how to fish. Judging from how young the anchor is, he doesn't have to retire early, does he? The ultimate romance of men is fishing. Faced with these lively barrage, Su Chen did not immediately respond, but walked straight into a fishing gear store. According to the breakup fee given by the former brokerage company, Su Chen can just purchase some fishing equipment. Holding a mobile phone, Su Chen walked around the store, carefully selecting a fishing rod and pairing it with several different fishing lines. In addition, there are also fishing nets and various types of bait. After purchasing this entire set of equipment, Su Chen's breakup fee happened to be spent entirely. The anchor's equipment is quite professional. This time the anchor is bleeding today. Everyone knows that Su Chen is not wealthy, and the money spent on buying these equipment is undoubtedly a considerable expense for him. Facing the comments from the barrage, Su Chen held the equipment in one hand and gasped for breath to respond, yes, I really went all out to give you a live broadcast. Let's go fishing. Jiaxing Media. After seeing off Mr. Yang and Su Chen, the studio regained its composure. Before leaving, Boss Yang even criticized Reba, asking her to wear formal attire for work. This is the company, not home. Reba naturally handled it with a playful smile. She opened her computer and found that Chen was live streaming, so she clicked to enter and wanted to see what he was busy with. Fishing. Reba looked at Chen standing by the lake holding a fishing rod on the screen and thought to herself, this time it's finally more reliable, at least there's no risk. Chen interacted with the barrage while trying to adapt to the fishing rules. Although the system gave him fishing skills, he was inevitably a bit flustered due to his first attempt. After all, this is different from driving. Previously, Chen had a driver's license and knew the basic driving skills, so he was able to use his top-notch driving skills with ease. Soon, Chen completed his fishing journey and began his fishing journey. Many fans are still discussing, believing that Chen is just casually talking and has not truly mastered fishing techniques. Chen smiled calmly and decided to respond to the questioning with practical actions. In no time, the float began to sway up and down, indicating that a fish had taken the bait. Chen immediately grasped the fishing rod tightly and carefully pulled it towards the shore. Some of the audience in the live broadcast room were surprised that they could also catch it. Perhaps it's just luck, it's hard to say whether the anchor can successfully catch the fish. I think the anchor is quite like that, and he doesn't seem like someone who talks nonsense at this moment. Reba was sitting with her cheeks propped up, holding a cup of coffee in her hand, staring intently at Chen's live broadcast. She couldn't help but feel curious and hopeful, wanting to know whether Chen could successfully catch a fish and how big the fish was. 8. Why is it you again? You are listening at novelfull.audio. This fish has a lot of strength. Chen struggled to drag the fishing line and whispered to himself. After a fierce struggle, the fish finally exhausted. Chen's eyes were sharp and his hands were quick. He quickly caught the fish and waved it to the shore. This green fish has a considerable body size, approaching half a meter in length. Chen showed off the spoils of war in front of the camera and confidently said, "See, this fish isn't that small, is it? I'll just say, the anchor is a sincere person, not just relying on lip service. It seems that the anchor really has two tricks. He not only speaks but also does, he is truly talented." Meanwhile, in a police car in Jiaxing, a police officer is parked in front of a traffic light waiting. Sitting in the back seat, it was the one who had recently intersected with Chen twice. He boredly took out his phone, browsed through local information, and accidentally clicked into Chen's live broadcast room. Is this kid fishing? He looked at the live broadcast and felt a little relieved. It's finally calmed down a bit. The colleague driving heard him muttering and asked curiously, "Who was that?" "It's the young man who helped us intercept the suspect yesterday. This morning, because he was taking a heart attack patient to the hospital, he raced to over 70 miles in the city during the morning rush hour and was taken into the station by me." He explained. This time he finally calmed down and went fishing. Just as he was speaking, Chen caught another fish on the screen. "Hey, this kid has some tricks," the police officer praised. "He's a connecting rod." As a seasoned fishing enthusiast, seeing Chen continuously fishing, he couldn't help but become interested. At this moment, Chen was engaged in a fierce battle with a big fish in the live broadcast room. The fishing rod was bent into a full bow shape, revealing the enormous size of the fish. Chen's arms muscles were tense, and he struggled to step back, trying to pull the fish towards the shore. "Is this a big guy?" The police officer stared at the screen and observed Chen's performance. Can the mother of Jiaxing still hide a huge object in the river? A few minutes have passed, and Chen has felt some soreness in his arms, but he still perseveres. With his efforts, the fish was gradually pulled towards the shore, but strangely, there was no violent splashing or rolling on the water surface. Why didn't there be splashes of water? Chen was puzzled. Did it catch something else? He tugged hard for a few more minutes, and finally, through the murky water surface, he vaguely recognized a huge fish shadow. "Good guy, it looks like it's over a meter long." Chen said excitedly and struggled. "It's really a huge creature." The audience watching the live broadcast were thrilled to see this scene, holding their breath and hoping that Su Chen could fish this giant object ashore. However, Su Chen was completely engrossed in this battle and had no time to consider the barrage interaction. When the big fish was pulled to the shore, he was ready to go into the water to scoop it up, but the river water had been stirred up very turbidly, making it difficult to see the condition of the clear bottom. Su Chen stepped into the water and explored towards the bottom. What is this? Water plants. He touched a ball of hair like filaments and didn't pay much attention, turning to other places to search. I feel something's wrong, he murmured to himself as he touched the big fish. That big fish seems to be covered with fabric-like material. He fumbled for a while again, grabbed a sturdy and stiff object like a lotus root, and lifted it out of the water. The river was as deep as his waist, and when Su Chen saw the object in his hand clearly, he was scared and almost collapsed in the water. He hurriedly climbed up the bank with his hands and feet, choking on a few mouthfuls of water during the process. What kind of fish is that? It's clearly a human arm. The live audience who witnessed this scene were all shocked. Someone asked, "What was that just now? Did I feel dizzy? I also seem to have seen an arm. Did I get dizzy? That's just one hand. The anchor caught a corpse, right? Oh my goodness. This is too terrifying, isn't it? Is there a body in the mother river of Jiaxing?" The discussions among the audience were diverse, with some speculating that it was a plaster model from a water plant or clothing store. However, the experienced police officer immediately recognized that it was a human arm and patted the driver's shoulder, decisively ordering. "Old Lu, don't go back yet. Turn around and go to the river right away." "What's wrong?" The police officer, known as Lao Lu, looked puzzled. "What are you doing by the river?" "On this side of the mother river in Jiaxing, a fisherman caught a corpse." The police responded with a serious expression. Upon hearing this, Old Lu's face changed and he realized the seriousness of the situation. This section of the river happens to fall within the jurisdiction of their police station. "Are you sure you read it right?" Old Lu asked, "Could it be the arm of a fake model in a clothing store? Do you still not believe my judgment? Turn around quickly and take advantage of the fact that the person fishing is not far away yet." At this moment, Su Chen also recovered from his fear. Just as he landed, the bait was kicked over by him and scattered all over the ground. But now, he has no mood to tidy up the bait at all. The experience just now has left him with lingering fear, and he still feels creepy. He caught a corpse while fishing and even touched it with his own hands. He hurriedly explained in front of the broadcast room that his discovery was purely accidental, not intentional, and he was by no means the suspect. The audience in the live broadcast room gradually accepted the fact that Su Chen had indeed caught a dead body after seeing such a sincere explanation. But theoretically, people who drown should swell and float to the surface. How could they sink to the bottom of the water? Some people have raised questions. It could be someone who has just drowned, is tied to a heavy object, or was killed and thrown into the river, but there are many possibilities. It's better for the anchor to report to the police first, then stay in place and wait for the police to arrive. After hearing this, Su Chen nodded repeatedly and realized that he should report to the police first. Just as he was switching to the background to make a phone call, the sound of sirens could be heard in the distance. Su Chen was very surprised. "I had not even had time to report to the police, but the police arrived at the scene first." Is it the audience in the live broadcast room who reported themselves to the police? At the same time, he also admired the speed at which these police officers arrived. This river is located in the outskirts of Jiaxing and is not close to the nearest police station. Quickly, the familiar police car came to a steady stop in front of Su Chen. The police officer who got off the car was the one who had only dealt with Su Chen this morning. "How could it be you again?" The police officer walked towards Su Chen with a helpless expression on his face and said, "It's just that he came out to catch a fish, and he could also catch a case. Your luck is really unique. Su Chen's heart was also filled with innocence. Are you taking me on a trip? The police officer continued, go take a note. No, I'm just fishing here. This corpse has nothing to do with me, Su Chen replied with a look of injustice. Why do I have to go to the bureau too? You caught it yourself, who are you not following? The police took out a warning tape from the trunk and quickly surrounded the scene. Su Chen's face was filled with bitterness, and he could only sigh helplessly. The audience in the live broadcast room were amused by Su Chen's experience when they saw this scene. 9. Unique luck. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The originally tense atmosphere was slightly eased as a result. Entering the palace 3 times within 2 days is truly impressive. When Su Chen was fishing before, many viewers thought he had caught a big fish and turned on screen recording mode. As a result, the giant object was not captured, but an even more stunning scene was unexpectedly recorded. Numerous viewers edited the recorded screen into a video and added eye-catching yellow background and black text in the video title, such as, Mother River in Jiaxing is now drowned, and, suspected headless female corpse, just to gain traffic. Of course, the body is still in the water at this time, and the gender cannot be determined yet. With this wave of operation, the number of online viewers in Su Chen's live broadcast room instantly soared. However, Su Chen was immediately taken away by the police, and the live broadcast was forced to be interrupted. Upon seeing the situation, Reba immediately called Mr. Yang and explained the matter in detail. After hearing this, Boss Yang couldn't help but be extremely surprised. Did you say he actually caught a corpse while fishing just now? Su Chen, who just signed the contract, has entered the Shuang San Company again. In just 2 days, he has completed the grand task of entering the palace 3 times. Reba on the other end of the phone answered in a series of voices, with a hint of anxiety in her tone. Okay, I got it. You get busy with your work first, and I will handle it on Su Chen's end. After hanging up the phone, she sat in the office chair and frowned slightly. Shouldn't Su Chen have a record, right? Boss Yang was secretly worried in his heart. She couldn't figure out why the police were so closely monitoring Su Chen, and it seemed that it was all due to Su Chen's amazing good luck. After some consideration, Mr. Yang decided to personally go to the police station to catch people. If Su Chen really has a case record, coupled with the fact that the body was caught from the river this time, he may have to stay inside for a few days as a suspect for investigation. At this time, on a certain audio platform, videos related to Su Chen's live streaming of fishing and catching corpses are extremely popular, with some videos even exceeding hundreds of thousands of likes. Various related topics have also emerged, such as #The Mother River of Jiaxing discovered a floating corpse, and the hidden truth behind it is #On the streets of Jiaxing, there is a resurgence of racing frenzy. During the morning rush hour, the car raced at 80 miles, but surprisingly, the ending was #Jiaxing Justice Citizen, driving Didi to assist the police in pursuing the suspect. The real-life version of Speed and Passion is staged. That's right, Su Chen's live broadcast content was also dug up by netizens yesterday. After this battle, the number of followers on Su Chen's account skyrocketed. But at this moment, he is still on his way to the police station, completely unaware of everything that happened online. Don't be nervous, the police officer sitting next to Su Chen patted his shoulder and comforted him. I just asked you to take a note this time, it's not a big deal. And there is a live video as evidence, which can completely help you clear your suspicion. Not long after, they arrived at the police station. This time, the police specially brewed tea for Su Chen. Su Chen picked up his paper cup and took a sip, a bitter taste spreading in his mouth. Not long after, Su Chen completed the transcript. At this moment, the police station received a call from Mr. Yang. You can't leave yet, a police officer called out to Su Chen, who was about to leave, and said. Why? Su Chen was puzzled, didn't he already finish the transcript? The transcript has been completed, but someone will come to pick you up. Please wait here for a moment. After listening, Chen nodded silently and sat down in a corner. He took out his phone and suddenly realized that his Douyin fans had increased by over 30,000 because he had recorded a transcript. What's going on? Chen muttered. After browsing the video for a while, he understood the whole story. On the hot search list in the same city, almost all of them are video clips of him fishing for corpses and 2-car races. Chen could only smile bitterly at this. A few minutes later, Boss Yang arrived as scheduled. She walked into the police station wearing a pair of loose black sunglasses, elegant makeup, and black high heels under her feet. Her temperament is undoubtedly quite outstanding. Let's go, Mr. Yang greeted Chen. Chen responded and followed Boss Yang out of the police station. The sudden appearance of Mr. Yang surprised the police in the police station. Chen got into Mr. Yang's car and asked, "Why did you come in person?" "Actually, just send an assistant over." Yang Mi responded softly, "I was planning to have my assistant come, but she has other things to attend to." "You are an artist under our Jiaxing brand. When faced with such a situation, I think it would be more appropriate to come in person." Chen nodded and didn't say anything more. "Do you have any criminal record?" Mr. Yang suddenly asked while driving. "What?" Chen was a bit confused by this sudden question. "No, is there any misunderstanding?" Chen smiled and thought to himself that Boss Yang must have misunderstood something, so he quickly explained the reasons for entering the police station 3 times within these 3 days. Yang Mi had watched Chen's first live broadcast of a racing car before and knew that he had helped intercept a criminal vehicle, but she was not sure about the specific situation where he entered the police station as a result. After listening to Chen's explanation, Yang Mi suddenly realized. "I see." Yang Mi whispered to herself, "But to be honest, your luck is too strange." Faced with Mr. Yang's sighs, Chen could only respond with a bitter smile. "I wanted to relax by fishing, but unexpectedly caught a corpse. Can I live stream in your car for a while?" Chen asked Yang Mi for her opinion. Yang Mi agreed, "Sure, but don't take pictures of me." After obtaining permission, Chen took out his phone and restarted the live broadcast. Chen's live broadcast room has once again seen a surge in popularity. The barrage joked that Chen had entered the police station again. Chen helplessly supported his forehead. "I'm so convinced that I can go to the police station as a sideline." Chen complained to himself. "Roast, the key is, this is not once, but the 3rd time in just 2 days. Such an experience is also extremely rare on the entire music platform." Chen let out a long sigh and said that he was just a celebrity, fishing and driving were just hobbies. "It's just my own luck, it's really too peculiar." It's really touching. Chen's live broadcast is indeed quite entertaining. The police have retrieved the female body and confirmed her identity, which is the protagonist of the recently widely publicized Didi taxi disappearance case. At the same time, the police have once again called on citizens to raise their awareness of travel safety. It is worth noting that the ring on the finger of the unfortunate deceased woman has disappeared without a trace, which is an important clue to the current case. In Chen's live broadcast room, many viewers received relevant information released by the police. "I heard that the female corpse discovered in the river this time was the female passenger who mysteriously disappeared after riding on Didi a few days ago." "Anchor, you're unlucky. You just played the role of a Didi driver yesterday." "Lao Tai, this matter doesn't really have something to do with you, does it?" Faced with the barrage of mocking comments on the screen, Chen smiled bitterly and pursed his lips in response, saying, "It definitely has nothing to do with me. I go fishing and use Didi to earn some extra income, including live streaming. I'm afraid of drinking tea at the bureau again now, I just want to find a more stable part-time job to do." Fans couldn't help but be amused by his humor when they saw him make such a statement. "I still have some free gifts here, so I might as well give them all to the anchor." Some viewers were joking on the barrage. 2333, 0 Krypton Gold Companion Anchor Real Hammer / Dog Head. 10, Unfortunate Luck. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After Mr. Yang took Su Chen home, he drove back to Jiaxing Media Company by himself. Su Chen, on the other hand, brought his fishing gear and prepared to continue fishing upstream of the river. I thought to myself, it's impossible to catch a female corpse upstream. Soon, Su Chen arrived at the upstream position of the river, and the barrage in the live broadcast room continued to tease him crazily, which indeed brought many highlights to the live broadcast. At Jiaxing Media Company, the first thing Mr. Yang did after returning to the company was to talk to Reba. He lightly knocked on Reba's door. "Please come in," replied Reba. Mr. Yang walked into the room and said directly to Reba, "I have already taken Su Chen out. You need to keep an eye on him and not let him cause trouble and enter the Public Security Bureau again. After all, as artists under our Jiaxing brand, frequent entry and exit from the police station is not good for the company's image." After listening, Reba immediately nodded and agreed, saying confidently, "Don't worry, I'll take on this task." It was a rare opportunity to fish openly, and Reba was filled with joy in her heart. After seeing off Mr. Yang, Reba opened the live broadcast room again to follow Su Chen's updates. "Did you go fishing again?" Reba muttered to herself, "It's quite stable. Fishing can be considered a relatively safe activity. After all, how can we catch a female corpse every time? Besides, Su Chen is now upstream of the river, and even if there are female corpses, they should have been washed downstream." After Su Chen arrived upstream, his luck seemed to have improved. With a full-level fishing skill bonus, he repeatedly hooked and gained a lot. The barrage was full of jokes, but Su Chen was busy collecting fish at the moment and had no time to interact with everyone. As the night deepened, Su Chen looked at the basket full of spoils and decided to sell them all at a restaurant. With so many fish, it is estimated that they can be sold for 1,800 yuan. This income is enough for Su Chen to spend some time. At this pace of development, in just a few days, Su Chen could earn back the money for buying fishing gear. A large restaurant in Jiaxing City. This restaurant has a booming business and a continuous stream of diners. There is a television hanging in the center of the hall, broadcasting news reports about the recent murder case. A man wearing a black shirt sat in front of the TV, his face slightly tense, his eyes bloodshot, dark circles under his eyes, thick, unshaven beard, and messy hair. It was obvious that he had not been properly organized for a long time. He stared at the TV screen and watched the news for a while, then lowered his head and quickly ate the food in his hand. A few minutes later, Su Chen also arrived here during the live broadcast. Due to a busy day of fishing, he also felt hungry, so he planned to ask the restaurant chef to help stew a fish, and he was willing to pay the processing fee. After everything was arranged properly, Su Chen found a seat and began to interact with the audience in the live broadcast room. The fish caught in the afternoon successfully sold for several hundred yuan, which made Su Chen quite satisfied. Not long after, the fish ordered by Su Chen was brought to the table, looking extremely tempting. Su Chen transformed into a food live broadcast. "I have to admit that the fish I caught myself tasted different. This is a naturally grown fish in the rivers of Jiaxing, with delicious meat. After being cooked by the hotel chef, there is no fishy smell at all." Even Reba, who was watching the live broadcast on the side, was aroused by her appetite. She smacked her lips, picked up the small snacks next to her, unpacked them, and tasted them together. Just as Su Chen was enjoying his meal, a customer walked into the restaurant and ordered a fish as well. "Okay, please wait a moment." The chef heard the customer asking for a fish and casually picked up the one that Su Chen had just sent and began to process it. Suddenly, there was a crisp, ding, sound. The knife in the chef's hand unexpectedly broke a gap. "What hard thing did you cut into?" the chef muttered. Su Chen also felt curious and stretched his neck to see what the chef had cut. He raised his phone, hoping that the audience in the live broadcast room could also take a look. The chef cut open the fish's belly and took out a diamond ring from it. What's going on? The chef looked bewildered. Not only the chef, but also Su Chen felt confused. Eating a diamond ring in the belly of a fish is a live streaming hotspot that he certainly cannot miss. So Su Chen walked up with his phone in hand. Let me take a look. Su Chen said. The chef handed the ring to Su Chen. Su Chen took the ring and carefully examined it. How come there are 2 letters engraved on the back of this ring? Su Chen pointed his camera at the back of the ring and introduced it to the audience in the live broadcast room. He stared at these 2 letters and pondered for a while. How could the ring appear in the fish's belly? Su Chen looked puzzled. He suddenly remembered the female victim he caught this morning. Isn't there exactly a diamond ring that she lost in her hand? Wait, Su Chen suddenly realized something and glanced at the 2 letters on the back of the ring, exclaiming, aren't these 2 letters just abbreviations of the victim's name? At this moment, at the Jiaxing police station, the investigating police have been struggling to track the clues of the female corpse case for the past 2 days, as Su Chen has been invited to have tea several times in a row, so the police have also paid special attention to the dynamics of his live broadcast room. When they saw the 2 letters on the back of the ring, they immediately thought of the female corpse. Hurry up and call the police, shouted the police officer in charge of checking Su Chen's live broadcast. What happened? The other police officers looked at him in surprise. We have new clues, the police replied. Someone found the victim's ring in the belly of a fish. In the belly of the fish. That's right, the police continued, it's still that Su Chen. He caught a fish this afternoon and surprisingly ate a ring in its belly. The back of the ring is engraved with 2 letters, which happen to be the abbreviation of the victim's name. Not only were the police shocked, but the audience in the live broadcast room also exploded. Everyone began to joke, saying that this case seemed to have an inexplicable connection with the anchor. Su Chen stood there, unable to react for a moment. Based on the current situation, I'm afraid I'll be invited to have tea again. Su Chen's inner OS. I just want to eat a fish. Su Chen was sitting in his seat, enjoying dinner quietly. Due to his loud announcement just now, many people in the restaurant heard him discover a diamond ring in the belly of a fish. Many people stood up from their seats and cast their eyes towards Su Chen, trying to find out. This ring may be crucial for the police to solve the case, but Su Chen was cautious and had placed it properly in his personal pocket. This case has been extremely popular recently, and almost everyone in Jiaxing is aware of it. On the nearby booth, a man wearing a black shirt was now hanging his head even lower, almost burying himself in the plate. His eating speed has significantly increased. However, this restaurant is doing well in business, with a large number of customers in the lobby, and no one has noticed anything unusual about it yet. Not long after, the Jiaxing police quickly arrived at the scene, sealed off the scene, and collected physical evidence. With the intervention of the police, the barrage in the live broadcast room rolled like a tide, and the scene was once extremely explosive. The anchor won't be going in again, will he? He has already gone in twice today. I think it's possible, after all, that fish was caught by the anchor himself. The anchor is really unlucky. Whatever they do these past few days is related to this case. How about we make a bet? I bet the anchor has to go in today. If the anchor doesn't go in, I'll send him a huazi. A police officer walked straight towards Su Chen and sat opposite him. Did you meet again? The police officer greeted with a smile. Su Chen has frequently visited the police station in the past 2 days, and almost all the police in the station have an impression of him. Su Chen chewed on the fish in his mouth and sighed helplessly.